everyone, Sarah here. Welcome back to Never Out of Books. It's a very rainy day. I'm kind of cranky, but I mean, I don't have to be anything other than cranky. I mean, people have moods, right? So Booktubeathon happened, and I really just didn't do anything that I said I was going to do. And I hardly read at all, it seems like. So not hugely successful, but what can one do? The only challenge I completed was, like, with the book that I actually chose, was the coin toss to pick your first book, Wanted and Wired by Vivian Jackson. This is, I don't know, it says on the side it's a paranormal. I don't know, I've never read urban fantasy before, but this might be urban fantasy. I'm not entirely sure. This follows Mary and Heron. It is a romance. So, yeah. And they get set up. She is an assassin, and he is her handler. He kind of like talks into her head somehow. He's like not much human and anymore. He's more like, I don't know, what, like cyborg or something? I don't know. Something like that. I don't quite get it. She's full-blooded human, and they set her up, and she ends up killing another full-blooded human, which is not what she ever wants to do. She usually only kills mechanical clones. And it's all caught on video, and so they're on the run. And let me tell you, this book just goes. Okay, so like first page, everything happens, and we're off. There's all kinds of other things going on in here, and, you know, plots, and you learn all kinds of information and stuff. This is just, I think the writing was good, and I mean, it moved along, but this put me in a huge slumpiness because this is not my type of book. And again, it was written well, I think, and so if you do like an urban fantasy, paranormal, all of this, then this is a book for you. But it was just not a book for me. There was way too much language. I can stand a little bit of language every once in a while because, yes, I know I hear it and it's all around, but there was too much language, too much lust and sex going around, and it was just too much for me. So I ended up giving this 3 stars. But again, if this is like your type of book, then you probably will like it. Just wasn't for me, and it really did make me not want to read. So it was slightly unfortunate. I think it was unfortunate because that's kind of the reason why Booktubeathon just did not go out very well for me. I ended up finishing Sweet Stuff by Donna Kaufman during the readathon. I'm counting it during it because I finished it, although I was really almost done. But anyway, because I didn't read any of the other challenges, I'll say this is something that I've always wanted to do, and that is she photographs stuff. So this is another romance, contemporary romance, and it follows Riley and Quinn. Riley is a food photographer, so she stages all of the food and takes pictures. She also stages homes. She has come to this little island and, you know, started her life kind of over again, I guess you could say. But there's not too much drama in this book, so, you know, it's not angsty or anything. Quinn is a famous writer, and he is kind of having a mental block, and so he comes to stay at this, and this is their story. I appreciated the lack of angst and drama. This was unbelievable. You know, there's not a lot of famous writers out there who can rent billion-dollar homes and sit around and write. I don't think. I mean, unless I totally have. But the unbelievableness was made up for in the fact that it really was a cute, good book. I enjoyed it. The only thing I didn't like is I'm not a fan of food entering the bedroom, if you know what I mean. Like, it sounds good in theory when you're 20 years old or something, but the reality, you know, I'm old now. That's no. So there was one episode in there where, you know, and yeah, I didn't like that. But other than that, this was a very cute read. I'm very surprised. So I didn't do book to movie adaptation. I didn't pick up Wives and Daughters at all. So that was actually going to be a lot of my readathon challenges. And since I didn't pick it up, I'm going to try to see if I can make some of like this other book fit some things, like Pretty Spine, because you know it's okay. And there is some green on the cover. So this is the 5th book, I want to say, in the Secret History of the Pink Carnation series that I have been reading by Lauren Willig. Love this series. It is just so fantastic. It's The Temptation of the Night Jasmine, in case I didn't say that already. This one follows Robert, the Duke, and Charlotte. Charlotte has always been in love with him, but he has spent most of his life in India. He was not, well, I guess he expected to inherit the dukedom, but he was raised like as a very distant relation without all of the money and benefits and all of that. And he just has kind of always stayed away. He was, you know, in the military in India. And he comes home to find this Night Jasmine person, not really to take up the dukedom, but it's his and Charlotte's story. Charlotte is very interesting. She is very idealistic and clumsy and cute and a reader and shy and petite, and I just admire how Lauren Willig writes such different female characters. You know, they all have really different personalities so far, and I'm really enjoying it. And this was no exception. Not my favorite. I'm still reserving that for book number 2 at this point. Is my favorite, but very enjoyable. The modern part of the story with Eloise and Colin, they're dating. That's kind of where we're at here. Every once in a while we get a little chapter from them. And I can't really say a whole lot about these books because it will contain a spoiler for the first book, even though they're all pretty well contained in their own little story arc. I mean, there's like the big question of who the Pink Carnation is, and so I can't mention anything unless you've read the book, because, you know, then I'm going to spoil the first book of finding out who in the world the Pink Carnation is, which is like a really big theme of this whole thing. So, very good, enjoyable series. So, what I didn't complete for Booktubeathon was book to movie adaptation, read with a hat. Yeah, there was none of that going on. And read 7 books, because that didn't happen either. But I finished 3 books the week, so I guess that's the best that could be expected. And I wasn't even on Twitter very much or any of that during the readathon either, which is kind of a bummer. So this one was kind of a bummer for me, but it was only because of my own personal circumstances, my own personal reading, and nothing to do with the readathon itself. Like, it just is what it is. You do well on some and you don't do well on others. So that's kind of what I have for you right now, and I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.